Raise your hand if you've recently had to introduce yourself or start small talk. Did you raise your hand? Alright, that's what we're going to talk about today: how to converse better. Many find it uncomfortable and challenging to introduce themselves or engage in casual conversation. Our goal is to learn how to think faster and speak more intelligently in these moments when we're under pressure to think and act quickly. Most of our communication happens in the moment, like making toasts, answering questions, giving feedback, and introducing ourselves. These situations can be particularly challenging. Public speaking or engaging in any social situation can be both exciting and challenging. When we prepare for a specific event, like a presentation or a meeting with a set agenda, we have a general idea of what to expect. This gives us the chance to organize our thoughts, rehearse what we'll say, and feel more confident. But even with all this preparation, there's a risk of coming across as too robotic or rehearsed, which can cause the audience to lose interest. It's like following a recipe to the letter but forgetting to add a bit of personality to the final dish. Now, when we find ourselves in a completely spontaneous scenario, like a casual conversation with someone we've just met or an unexpected situation, the game changes entirely. There's no script to follow, and often, we need to think quickly to avoid that blank mind feeling. These moments require a special skill to adapt and respond quickly and naturally, which can be particularly challenging for those who don't feel comfortable in unpredictable social situations. What's fascinating here is how our minds work differently in these two situations. In a planned setting, we have the chance to structure our thoughts, create a line of reasoning, and control the pace of our speech. It's a bit like constructing a story with a beginning, middle, and end, knowing exactly where we want to take our audience. But in improvisation, we don't have that luxury. Every word spoken is a little gamble, and we're constantly adjusting what we say based on the reactions of others. It's a real-time chess game, where the next move is unknown until it's made. Moreover, there's the issue of how others perceive us. In a planned context, we are generally seen as experts or people in a position of authority, which can give us a certain confidence. However, in a spontaneous situation, that perception is much more fluid. It all depends on how we present ourselves and connect with the people around us. It's not just about what we say but also about how we listen and react. The lack of preparation in spontaneous situations can be a double-edged sword. On one hand, it leaves us exposed and vulnerable, afraid of saying something wrong or being misunderstood. On the other hand, this vulnerability can be exactly what makes these interactions more genuine and authentic. There's no time for masks or pretensions, we're simply ourselves, trying to navigate the conversation with what we have at the moment. These differences highlight an intriguing truth about communication: the ability to connect with others is not just about knowing what to say but also about being present in the moment, adapting to circumstances. Whether in a well-rehearsed presentation or an improvised conversation, the essential thing is authenticity and the ability to adapt to the environment and the people around us. It's a reminder that while we can prepare for many things in life, true mastery in communication often comes from our ability to improvise and genuinely connect with others. Spontaneous communication is a constant presence in our daily lives, even if we often don't realize it. It's such a natural aspect of our interactions that we rarely stop to reflect on its importance. Think of the moments when, without any prior notice, we're called upon to speak, like giving a toast at a party or responding to unexpected questions. These situations require a quick and genuine response, without time for scripts or rehearsals. They reveal our ability to think and react authentically, showing who we really are in real time. Giving immediate feedback is another common example of on-the-spot communication. Whether in the workplace, talking with colleagues, or in more personal contexts like giving advice to a friend, these spontaneous interactions are crucial for building and maintaining healthy relationships. The sincerity and clarity with which we express our thoughts in these moments can have a significant impact, both positive and negative. How we communicate our perceptions and feelings, without prior preparation, can strengthen bonds or, in some cases, create misunderstandings. Another classic example of spontaneous communication is self-introduction in a meeting or a new social group. That brief moment when we need to quickly introduce ourselves may seem trivial, but it carries a huge weight. In those initial seconds, we try to summarize who we are, what we do, and why we are there, all while trying to make a good impression. There's no time to plan every word, so our authenticity and ability to adapt to the environment are put to the test. These small moments of interaction can define how we will be perceived by others, influencing future collaborations and connections. What's fascinating is that, despite the apparent simplicity of these interactions, they are full of nuances and complexity. Social psychology suggests that we are constantly being evaluated and evaluating others based on how we communicate in these moments. This includes not only the content of what we say but also our tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. These nonverbal cues are crucial for effective communication and often carry more weight than the words themselves. In the digital age, on-the-spot communication also extends beyond face-to-face interactions. Responding to text messages, emails, or participating in online chats often requires the same quick thinking and clarity of expression. The informality of these mediums can be deceiving, leading many to underestimate the importance of how they express themselves. However, the lack of tone and body language in these channels can make communication even more challenging, requiring greater attention to the words chosen to avoid misunderstandings. The prevalence of spontaneous communication in our daily lives underscores the importance of being prepared to handle the unpredictability of human interactions. Every conversation, toast, improvised response, or introduction is an opportunity to showcase our personality, build relationships, and influence our surroundings. It's a constant reminder that while preparation is helpful, true skill lies in knowing how to navigate these situations with confidence and authenticity. Spontaneous communication is, after all, a continuous dance between what we plan and what life unexpectedly presents to us. Nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is like the background music of a conversation. Even if we don't pay direct attention to it, it's there, influencing the overall mood and how the message is received. Our postures, gestures, and facial expressions are powerful indicators of what we're really feeling and thinking, often conveying more than the words we choose. Consider posture. Imagine walking into a room for a job interview with your shoulders back, head held high, and confident strides. This posture not only shows confidence to others but also makes you feel more secure. On the other hand, walking in with slouched shoulders and looking down can give the impression of insecurity or lack of interest. The body speaks, and it has a lot to say about how we feel about ourselves and the environment around us. Gestures are another important piece of this nonverbal puzzle. A well-placed gesture can emphasize a point, add energy to the conversation, or simply help better express what you're feeling. It's like seasoning in a dish. Used in the right amount, it can make the message more flavorful, but overdoing it can spoil everything. Exaggerated or incessant hand movements can be distracting, while natural and moderate gestures can bring words to life and make communication more expressive. Facial expressions are the window to our emotions. A smile can open doors and make people feel at ease, while a frown can indicate concern or doubt. Imagine being in a conversation and seeing the other person's face light up with a genuine smile. It creates an instant connection, making the moment warmer and more approachable. But if the face is expressionless or tense, the communication can feel cold and distant, even if the words are kind. Eye contact is perhaps one of the most underrated aspects of nonverbal communication. Looking someone in the eye is not just a matter of courtesy, it's a way to establish a genuine connection. It shows that you are present, attentive, and interested in what the other person has to say. It's like saying without words, "I'm here with you." But it's important to be careful not to overdo it. Too much eye contact can be intimidating, while avoiding it can give the impression of disinterest or insecurity. In addition to expressing our own feelings, nonverbal communication is essential for understanding others. Picking up on cues like someone's restlessness, averted gaze, or deep sigh can provide important clues about the person's emotional state. These signals help us adjust our approach, perhaps offering more clarity or changing the subject if we sense discomfort. For example, in a meeting, if you notice someone crossing their arms and looking away, this may indicate that the person disagrees with what's being said or feels uncomfortable. Acknowledging and responding to these signs can make a big difference in how communication flows and is received. Maybe a simple question like "What do you think about this?" can open space for the person to feel included and comfortable sharing their opinions. In the end, nonverbal communication is a subtle dance between what we say and how we say it. It's what brings words to life, adding layers of meaning and emotion. Mastering this form of communication is like learning a new language. it requires practice, attention, and, above all, a willingness to truly connect with others. Whether in a job interview, a casual conversation, or an important presentation, body language, facial expressions, and eye contact are the tools that help us convey not just a message, but also our authenticity and intention. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Your subscription helps us keep creating content with love and dedication. Difficult conversations. Managing difficult conversations is an essential skill, especially in situations where emotions can easily get out of control. Staying calm and composed is the first step to navigating these turbulent waters. One of the most effective techniques for this is focusing on breathing. Deep, slow breaths help to slow down the heart rate and clear the mind, allowing you to think more clearly before responding. It's like pressing the pause button on a movie, giving yourself a moment to consider your words carefully. In addition to breathing, maintaining an open and relaxed posture can also help diffuse tension. Crossing your arms or adopting a rigid posture can be seen as defensive or aggressive, while an open posture shows that you are receptive and willing to listen. This physical openness can help create a more conducive environment for constructive communication, even in the midst of a heated discussion. Diffusing tense situations requires skills in active listening and empathy. Instead of reacting impulsively, try to really listen to what the other person is saying. The technique of paraphrasing, that is, repeating what the other person said in your own words, can be extremely helpful. This not only shows that you are paying attention but also gives the other person the opportunity to correct any misunderstandings. It's a way to validate the other's feelings, which can help reduce tension. When faced with tough questions or criticism, it's important to maintain diplomacy. Instead of going on the defensive or counterattacking, seek to understand the other person's perspective. Questions like, "Can you explain more about what you mean?" or "What led you to that conclusion?" demonstrate a willingness to understand, rather than simply defend. This not only helps de-escalate the situation but can also reveal important information you may not have considered. Handling conflicts diplomatically often involves finding common ground. Instead of focusing on differences, look for points of agreement. Phrases like "I see that we both want to find a solution" or "I understand that this is important to you" can help build a bridge between the parties. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but acknowledging the other's valid points can smooth the way for a peaceful resolution. The art of apologizing is an underrated but crucial skill in difficult conversations. A sincere apology should be direct and straightforward. Avoid qualified apologies, such as "I'm sorry if you were offended." Instead, take responsibility for your actions with phrases like "I apologize for saying that, it wasn't my intention to hurt you." This shows maturity and respect and can be a significant step in repairing any damage caused. Recovering from mistakes is also an important part of managing difficult conversations. Everyone makes mistakes, but the important thing is how we deal with them. After apologizing, it's helpful to steer the conversation towards something positive or constructive. This can be done by suggesting solutions or reaffirming a commitment to a positive outcome. For example, "Although we had this difference of opinion, I'm committed to finding a solution that works for all of us." In summary, managing difficult conversations involves a combination of staying calm, diffusing tension, handling criticism and conflict diplomatically, and knowing how to apologize and recover from mistakes. These skills not only help navigate challenging situations but also strengthen trust and mutual respect, creating a more solid foundation for future interactions. The role of technology in spontaneous communication. Technology has completely changed the way we communicate, especially in situations where we need to be spontaneous. Whether it's video conferences, chats, or emails, the rules of the game are a little different, and it's essential to adjust our communication style to be effective in these virtual environments. In video conferences, for example, it may seem strange, but making eye contact means looking at the camera, not at the screen. While it's tempting to look at people's faces, looking at the camera gives the impression that you're actually looking into their eyes, creating a stronger connection. Maintaining a confident posture, having a tidy and well-lit environment also makes a big difference, helping to convey professionalism and attention. And don't forget the little video conferencing etiquettes, like muting your microphone when not speaking and avoiding interruptions, which help keep the conversation flowing and organized. In chats and emails, things are a little different. Here, clarity and conciseness are even more important since you don't have body language or tone of voice to help communicate the message. Being direct and specific is essential to avoid misunderstandings. In the case of chats, people expect quick responses, but that doesn't mean you should sacrifice the quality of communication. Taking a moment to review what you've written can prevent something from being misinterpreted. For emails, a clear subject line and a well-structured message help ensure that your message is read and easily understood. When it comes to adapting spontaneous communication techniques to the digital world, it's important to remember netiquette, online etiquette. This includes being polite and respectful, not overwhelming people with messages or unexpected invitations, and respecting others' privacy. It's also crucial to be clear about your emotions and intentions, as tone can easily be misinterpreted in text. Building and maintaining a professional and authentic online presence is like walking a tightrope. On the one hand, you want to be true to yourself and authentic, but on the other, it's important to maintain a certain level of professionalism. On social media, this means sharing content relevant to your field, but avoiding posts that could be seen as controversial or inappropriate. It's a good idea to regularly update your profiles with insights and accomplishments, building a personal brand that people can trust and connect with. Managing your communication on social media also involves being attentive to what others are saying about you or your brand. Monitoring mentions and feedback allows you to respond quickly and appropriately, whether to thank a compliment or handle criticism. The key is always to respond courteously and professionally, even in difficult situations, maintaining calm and composure. Digital communication, with all its challenges, offers a unique opportunity to connect and express yourself in new and exciting ways. With a little practice and attention to detail, you can not only communicate clearly and effectively but also project an authentic and professional image that resonates with others. Whether adjusting your gaze to the camera during a video conference or carefully choosing your words in an email, these small things can make a big difference in how you are perceived in the digital world. Developing emotional intelligence. Developing emotional intelligence is like learning to navigate a sea of emotions, both our own and those of others. At its core, it involves understanding better what we feel and what the people around us are feeling, especially during communication. It starts with self-awareness, recognizing our own emotions, even the subtlest ones. Imagine yourself in a situation where you feel a mix of frustration and anxiety. Clearly identifying this can be the first step to dealing with these feelings in a healthy way. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now, and why do I feel this way? In addition to understanding our own emotions, it's crucial to pick up on the emotions of others. This goes beyond spoken words. It involves noticing the tone of voice, facial expressions, and body language. For example, someone might say they're fine, but if they're avoiding eye contact or crossing their arms, there might be more going on. This is where empathy comes in. Empathy is like a social superpower. It's not just about understanding others' emotions but also validating them. It's the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and feel what they're feeling. A simple "I understand how you feel" can work wonders because it shows that you're really listening and caring. Empathy is essential for building emotional bridges, especially in tense moments. Instead of closing off or reacting defensively, showing empathy can diffuse a potentially explosive situation. When someone feels understood, defensiveness decreases, and communication becomes more open and honest. It's as if empathy dissolves invisible barriers where emotions can easily get out of control. Staying calm and composed is the first step to navigating these turbulent waters. One of the most effective techniques for this is focusing on your breathing. Deep, slow breaths help slow down the heart rate and clear the mind, allowing you to think more clearly before responding. It's like hitting the pause button in a movie, giving yourself a moment to consider your words carefully. In addition to breathing, maintaining an open and relaxed posture can help diffuse tension. Crossing your arms or adopting a rigid stance can be perceived as defensive or aggressive, while an open posture signals that you are receptive and willing to listen. This physical openness can help create a more conducive environment for constructive communication, even in the midst of a heated discussion. De-escalating tense situations requires active listening skills and empathy. Instead of reacting impulsively, try genuinely listening to what the other person is saying. The technique of paraphrasing, or repeating what the other person said in your own words, can be extremely useful. This not only shows that you are paying attention but also gives the other person a chance to correct any misunderstandings. It's a way of validating the other person's feelings, which can help reduce tension. When faced with tough questions or criticism, it's important to remain diplomatic. Rather than becoming defensive or retaliating, seek to understand the other person's perspective. Questions like, "Can you explain more about what you mean?" or "What led you to this conclusion?" demonstrate a willingness to understand rather than just defend. This not only helps de-escalate the situation but can also reveal important information you may not have considered. Handling conflicts diplomatically often involves finding common ground. Instead of focusing on differences, look for points of agreement. Phrases like "I see we both want to find a solution" or "I understand this is important to you" can help build a bridge between the parties. This doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but acknowledging the other person's valid points can smooth the way toward a peaceful resolution. The art of apologizing is an underrated but crucial skill in difficult conversations. A sincere apology should be straightforward and without qualifiers. Avoid conditional apologies like "I'm sorry if you were offended." Instead, take responsibility for your actions with phrases like "I apologize for saying that. It wasn't my intention to hurt you." This shows maturity and respect and can be a significant step toward repairing any damage done. Recovering from mistakes is also a key part of managing difficult conversations. Everyone makes mistakes, but what matters is how we handle them. After apologizing, it's helpful to redirect the conversation to something positive or constructive. This can be done by suggesting solutions or reaffirming a commitment to a positive outcome. For example, "Although we had this disagreement, I'm committed to finding a solution that works for all of us." In summary, managing difficult conversations involves a combination of staying calm, de-escalating tension, handling criticism and conflicts diplomatically, and knowing how to apologize and recover from mistakes. These skills not only help navigate challenging situations but also strengthen trust and mutual respect, creating a stronger foundation for future interactions. 6-step methodology to improve spontaneous communication. Managing anxiety. Anxiety is a familiar feeling for many when it comes to public speaking or facing unexpected social situations. These moments of exposure can trigger a range of physical reactions that seem to come out of nowhere. A dry mouth, for example, is one of those reactions, as if the words refuse to come out. Redness in the face and excessive sweating can also occur, clear signs that the body has gone into alert mode. It's as if we're suddenly under the spotlight, and our body decides to put on a show of adrenaline. The heart races, almost as if it wants to jump out of the chest, and the mind, in turn, seems to play hide-and-seek with the words we need. These symptoms have deep roots in our survival instincts. The body, in its primitive wisdom, is just trying to protect us, activating the fight-or-flight response. This mechanism, which helped us escape predators, now kicks in at the sight of a microphone or a room full of colleagues. It's the fear of a poor performance, the concern that we will be judged, or worse, that we will make an embarrassing mistake. The mind, always creative, begins to anticipate all sorts of possible disasters, creating scenarios of imminent failure. This anticipation of negative outcomes traps us in a cycle of worry that only increases anxiety. But we are not completely at the mercy of these feelings. There are ways to work around these moments of nervousness. One of the most accessible is deep breathing. It may seem simple, but breathing deeply and slowly, focusing on exhaling longer than inhaling, can act as a reset button for the nervous system. It's almost like telling the body, "It's okay, there's no need to panic." This simple act can slow the heart rate and bring a sense of calm. Other small actions can help calm frayed nerves. Staying hydrated is essential, especially because a dry mouth can make speaking even more difficult. A sip of warm water can not only help moisten the mouth but also relax you. And for those who blush or start sweating, holding something cold can be surprisingly effective. The hands are a sort of thermometer for the body, and cooling them can help reduce that sensation of heat and sweating. Focusing on the present is another key to escaping the anxiety maze. Walking a bit before speaking, listening to a favorite song, or even saying a few tongue twisters to distract yourself can make a big difference. These activities pull us back into the now, away from worries about what might go wrong. The reality is that we all face moments when spontaneous communication is necessary, and anxiety is part of the package. But by recognizing the signs and using some simple techniques, we can navigate these moments with more calm and authenticity. It's a delicate dance between the primitive instinct to protect ourselves and the modern desire to connect with others meaningfully. And, with practice and patience, we can learn to turn this nervous energy into a force that propels us forward, instead of paralyzing us. Embracing mediocrity. The pursuit of perfection can be a subtle and treacherous trap, especially when it comes to communication. Harsh self-judgment and constant self-criticism act like an incessant background noise, draining our mental energy and diverting our attention from what truly matters, the message we want to convey. Instead of being present in the moment, we get caught in a cycle of self-evaluation, worried about the impression we're making or the possibility of making mistakes. This continuous internal analysis consumes valuable cognitive resources that could be used to create a genuine connection with our audience or interlocutors. One effective way to combat this cycle of self-criticism is to embrace the idea of mediocrity, or rather, to allow oneself to be average. At first glance, this might sound like a surrender to mediocrity, but it's actually a powerful strategy for relieving the pressure of having to be perfect all the time. When we allow ourselves to be good enough, we free our minds from the need to live up to impossibly high standards. This doesn't mean abandoning ambition or the desire to improve, but rather accepting that perfection is an elusive and unattainable goal. By doing so, we create space for more authentic and spontaneous communication. Embracing mediocrity as a starting point allows for a lighter, more relaxed approach to communication. Without the weight of perfection on our shoulders, we can focus more on the content of what we're saying than on the perfect way to say it. This shift in focus can be liberating. Instead of being paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes, we can explore new ideas, be more creative, and even allow ourselves to laugh at our own slip-ups. The irony is that by giving ourselves permission to be merely average, we often end up delivering a better, more authentic performance. This happens because people tend to connect more with sincerity and vulnerability than with a facade of flawless perfection. Reducing self-judgment also involves cultivating a compassionate attitude toward oneself. Instead of being our own harshest critics, we can become our greatest supporters. This doesn't mean ignoring flaws or mistakes, but rather approaching them with a constructive and friendly mindset. Self-compassion allows us to acknowledge our limitations and weaknesses without being overwhelmed by them. Thus, instead of berating ourselves for a communication failure, we can learn from the experience and move forward with more confidence. Maximizing mediocrity, therefore, is not an apology for mediocrity itself, but a way to ease the burden of excessive self-demand. By reducing self-judgment, we create a calmer and more open mental space for spontaneity. This allows us to respond more quickly and naturally, without the paralyzing filter of self-censorship. Communication becomes a more fluid and genuine experience, where the main goal is connection and the exchange of ideas, rather than an endless pursuit of unattainable perfection. So, by allowing ourselves to be simply human, with all our imperfections and flaws, we discover a new freedom in how we express ourselves. This more relaxed and genuine approach not only enhances our communication but also helps us feel more connected and authentic in our daily interactions. After all, it's in imperfection that we find the true essence of human communication. Changing perspective, opportunity instead of threat. The way we approach communication, especially in spontaneous situations, can completely transform our experience and that of others involved. Often, unexpected questions or feedback can be perceived as threats, triggering a defensive or anxious response. However, adopting a perspective shift and seeing these moments as opportunities can open up a world of possibilities. Instead of viewing these moments as tests or traps, considering them as chances to connect, learn, and find common ground can cultivate a more open and collaborative attitude. When we approach communication with an opportunity mindset, we allow it to become a space for genuine exchange and mutual growth. For example, a challenging question can be seen as a chance to explore new ideas or deepen understanding on a topic. Similarly, feedback, even when critical, can be a valuable opportunity for introspection and improvement. This approach transforms the dynamics of the interaction, shifting from a defensive stance to one of curiosity and engagement. It's an invitation to see communication as a dynamic, living process where every interaction is an opportunity to enrich mutual understanding and strengthen relationships. The Yes and technique is a powerful tool for fostering this opportunity mindset. Originating from improvisational theater, this technique encourages acceptance and continuous development of ideas. When someone offers us an idea or opinion, instead of immediately rejecting or contradicting it, the technique suggests that we first accept it, yes, and then build on it, and. This not only validates the other person's contribution but also promotes a collaborative and positive approach, allowing the conversation to flow constructively. This technique can be particularly useful in meetings or group discussions, where jointly building ideas can lead to more creative and innovative solutions. On the other hand, the next play mentality, borrowed from the world of sports, offers an effective strategy for dealing with mistakes and setbacks in communication. This approach emphasizes the importance of not dwelling on past mistakes but instead focusing on the next opportunity for action. In a game, after a poorly executed play, the athlete cannot afford to dwell on the mistake, they need to prepare immediately for the next play. Similarly, in a conversation, if we make a mistake or say something inappropriate, the best approach is to move on and focus on the next moment of interaction. This helps maintain the flow of communication and avoids the paralysis caused by excessive self-consciousness or regret. These approaches, yes and next play, are more than just techniques, they are philosophies that promote a more flexible and resilient view of communication. By adopting them, we allow ourselves to be more adaptable and receptive, turning each interaction into an opportunity for learning and connection. This not only improves our communicative effectiveness but also helps us build stronger and more meaningful relationships. Seeing spontaneous communication as an opportunity rather than a threat is a perspective shift that can profoundly enrich our daily interactions. It's an invitation to embrace the uncertainty and unpredictability of life with openness and curiosity, recognizing that every conversation is a chance to grow and connect with others. Attentive listening. The ability to listen attentively is fundamental to effective communication but is often underestimated. In a world where fast communication and immediate responses are valued, shallow listening becomes common. Listening merely to respond can lead to misunderstandings, as it focuses more on formulating a response than truly understanding what is being said. Deep listening, on the other hand, involves picking up not only the content of words but also the underlying emotions and intentions, creating a more authentic and meaningful connection with the speaker. Deep listening goes beyond the spoken words. It involves paying attention to the tone of voice, pauses, and even facial expressions and body language. These nonverbal elements often carry a significant portion of the message and can reveal feelings and intentions that words alone cannot convey. For instance, a simple phrase can have different meanings depending on the tone of voice used. By listening attentively, we can pick up on these nuances and respond more empathetically and appropriately. Several techniques can help enhance deep listening, such as the approaches of pace, space, and grace. Firstly, pace refers to slowing down the pace of the conversation. Often, in our rush to respond, we may miss important parts of the message. By slowing down, we give ourselves and the speaker the time needed to reflect on what is being said. This not only improves understanding but also demonstrates respect and consideration for what the other person is sharing. A slower pace allows both sides to feel heard and valued. Secondly, space involves creating a conducive environment for listening. This can mean finding a quieter place free from distractions where we can fully concentrate on the conversation. Additionally, creating mental space is equally important. Setting aside time for the interaction, without hurry or concern for other tasks, allows for more attentive and focused listening. When we commit to being truly present, we show the other person that their message matters to us. Finally, grace means giving yourself permission to consider the surrounding circumstances and emotions involved, trusting your own intuitions while listening. Demonstrating empathy and understanding is crucial for effective listening. This may involve verbally acknowledging the other person's feelings, such as saying, "It sounds like that was really difficult for you." This approach not only validates the speaker's experience but also builds an environment of trust and mutual respect. Listening with grace also means being kind to yourself. We won't always catch every nuance or respond in the best way possible, and that's okay. The practice of attentive listening is a continuous journey of learning and improvement. By allowing ourselves to make mistakes and learn from them, we can continually enhance our ability to listen and understand others. Attentive listening is a crucial component of effective and authentic communication. These practices help us move beyond the superficiality of conventional listening, paving the way for more genuine and empathetic engagement with those around us. By listening with an open heart and mind, we create a space where words are not only heard but truly understood and valued. Message structure. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, we often find ourselves in situations where we need to communicate something spontaneously. Whether in an unexpected meeting, a casual conversation, or a last-minute presentation, the way we structure our message can make all the difference. When we speak without a guiding thread, we risk appearing chaotic and difficult to follow. On the other hand, a good structure brings clarity to both the speaker and the listener, helping keep the message on track. Imagine you're telling a story. Without a beginning, middle, and end, the narrative can get lost, and the listener may not understand the main point. The same goes for a conversation or presentation. Structuring your ideas not only organizes what you want to say but also makes it easier for others to understand and retain the message. This is especially useful when you're nervous or improvising, as the structure gives you a solid base to build your ideas and move forward. One of the most effective ways to organize a message is through the problem-solution-benefit model. Think of it as a well-marked trail. You start by identifying a problem, something that needs to be addressed. This grabs the listener's attention, as everyone wants to know how to deal with challenges. Next, you present a solution to the problem. This is the moment to shine, showing that you have the answer or at least a proposed path. Finally, you highlight the benefits of this solution, explaining how it resolves the problem and brings clear advantages. It's like telling a good suspense story that culminates in a satisfying ending, where everything falls into place. Another interesting approach is the what, so what, now what method. It works as a guide to make sense of the information. First, you state the what, what's happening or the topic of the conversation. This puts everyone on the same page. Then, you move to the so what, explaining why this is important. Here, you answer that inevitable question people have, so what? Finally, the now what points out the next steps or actions that should be taken. It's a way to give clear direction, leaving everyone with a sense of purpose and action. These structures are not just tools for big speeches or formal presentations, they're also extremely useful in everyday situations. When you're in a casual conversation and want to share an idea, these models help ensure you're clear and to the point. They also help keep the conversation focused, preventing you from getting lost in irrelevant details or tangents. What's fascinating is that using these structures makes communication more fluid and natural. Ideas flow more logically, and the audience feels guided through what's being said. This not only makes the message easier to understand but also increases its impact. People are more likely to remember and respond positively when communication is clear and well-structured. So, the next time you find yourself needing to speak spontaneously, remember these structures. They're like maps that help navigate the conversation, making the process smoother and more effective. It's not about turning every interaction into a formal speech but finding ways to communicate your ideas clearly and engagingly, even when there's little time to plan. After all, well-structured communication is like a good story. It captivates, engages, and leaves a lasting impression. Focus and conciseness. In communication, clarity and conciseness are essential to ensure the message is effectively conveyed and understood. In a world filled with information and distractions, being direct isn't just a preference, it's a necessity to maintain attention and avoid overwhelming the listener. When we're concise, we focus on the essential, filtering out what's truly important and avoiding unnecessary details that dilute the impact of the message. One effective way to structure clear and concise communication is through the pitch format, especially useful in contexts where time is limited, such as in an elevator pitch. The what if you could, so that, for example, and that's not all structure is a powerful tool to encapsulate ideas quickly and engagingly. It begins with what if you could, serving as a hook to capture the listener's attention. This opening sparks curiosity and interest, setting the stage for the main proposal. For example, in a pitch for a new app, you could start with, what if you could organize your financial life with just a few taps? Next, the so that explains the benefit or desired outcome, directly linking what was proposed to the value it brings. This part is crucial to show the listener why they should care. Continuing the example, you could say, so that you can save time and money effortlessly. Then comes the for example, where you provide a concrete illustration or use case that makes the idea more tangible. This helps the listener visualize how the proposal works in practice. You might add, for example, our app automatically tracks your expenses and offers personalized savings suggestions. Finally, the "and that's not all" suggests there's more to explore or additional benefits. This part adds a touch of excitement and leaves the door open for further exploration or discussion. In our case, you could conclude with, "and that's not all, the app also helps you plan investments and achieve your financial goals." This structure is particularly effective because it not only communicates an idea directly but also guides the listener through a logical and compelling path. Each element of the structure serves a specific purpose: grabbing attention, explaining the benefit, providing a practical example, and suggesting additional value. This keeps the message focused and avoids information overload, ensuring that the audience understands and retains what's most important. Being direct and clear in communication doesn't mean being blunt or superficial, it's about being precise and relevant. This requires careful consideration of what truly matters in the message you're trying to convey. It involves cutting out the superfluous and focusing on the core idea. The ability to be concise is, in fact, a form of respect for the listener's time and attention. By delivering a well-structured and concise message, you show consideration for the audience, making the communication more effective and enjoyable. So, the next time you need to communicate something quickly and efficiently, remember the importance of focus and conciseness. Use structures like the pitch "what if you could," so that, for example, "and that's not all" to ensure your ideas are not only heard but also understood and appreciated. After all, good communication is more than just talking, it's ensuring the message gets across clearly and with impact. Practical activities to develop spontaneous communication skills. These activities are designed to be done in groups or even pairs, encouraging the practice of spontaneous communication in a collaborative environment. They can be done anywhere and are ideal for practicing with friends, colleagues, or in any social setting. Giving an imaginary gift activity. The giving an imaginary gift activity is a fun and engaging practice designed to stimulate creativity and quick responsibilities. To start, people should pair up. Each participant should imagine they are holding a gift box. The contents of this box are entirely fictional, allowing the imagination to run free. One of the participants starts by handing the imaginary box to their partner, saying something like, "Here's a special gift for you." The partner then opens the gift and, using the phrase "thank you for the _____", reveals what they found inside the box. This item can be anything from something ordinary to something completely fantastical and improbable, like a unicorn or a time machine. After the gift is revealed, the giver must explain why they chose that specific item for their partner. This explanation is an opportunity to exercise creativity, inventing imaginative and funny stories or reasons that justify the gift choice. For example, if the gift was a time machine, the giver might explain that they chose this item because they knew their partner always wanted to explore different eras and experience historical moments. It's important to keep the responses creative and spontaneous, without worrying about correctness or plausibility. There are no wrong answers in this activity, and the focus should be on having fun and exploring imagination. The activity should also maintain a light and relaxed atmosphere, encouraging laughter and enjoyment with the unexpected responses. For example, if someone receives an enchanted carpet, they might thank the giver by saying, "Thank you for the enchanted carpet." The giver can then respond, "I chose this gift because I know you've always wanted to travel the world and explore new places. Now, you can do it in style and without worries." This dynamic not only promotes improvisation but also helps improve empathy and active listening, as participants need to pay attention to the responses and react coherently. It's an excellent way to practice spontaneous and creative communication. Paraphrasing and questioning exercise. The paraphrasing and questioning activity is an excellent way to practice active listening and improve clarity in communication. To start, participants form pairs. Each person has 30 seconds to share a story or information about themselves. This story can be something personal, a recent experience, or even something related to the person's name, such as its origin or special meaning. After listening to the story, the partner should paraphrase what was said, summarizing the main points and confirming if they understood correctly. This not only demonstrates that the listener was paying attention but also helps clarify any possible misunderstandings. Paraphrasing can include both factual content and the emotions expressed by the person. For example, if someone shared a travel experience, the partner could paraphrase by saying, "So, you mentioned you recently traveled to Japan and were fascinated by the local culture, especially the tea ceremony." Next, the partner asks an open-ended question related to what was said, encouraging the other person to expand the conversation. Open-ended questions are those that cannot be answered with a simple yes or no and serve to explore the topic more deeply. For example, following the Japan trip example, an open-ended question could be, "What else did you find fascinating about Japanese culture during your visit?" The focus of this activity is truly listening and capturing both the content and emotional tone of what is being shared. It's important that the questions encourage the speaker to open up more and provide more details, helping to deepen understanding and connection. Active listening involves paying attention not only to the words but also to the emotions and nuances in the other person's speech, which can significantly enrich the exchange of ideas. This exercise not only strengthens active listening skills but also teaches the importance of confirming understanding before moving forward in a conversation. By paraphrasing, participants verify that they understood correctly, avoiding misunderstandings. Open-ended questions, in turn, show genuine interest and curiosity about the other person's story, which can strengthen connection and make communication more effective and engaging. These activities help develop the ability to think quickly, listen attentively, and respond effectively. They are simple exercises that can be practiced on various occasions and help build confidence and spontaneous communication. Becoming an effective communicator, especially when you need to improvise, is an ongoing challenge worth pursuing. The key to improving this skill is to practice regularly. Imagine yourself in a situation where you have to speak suddenly. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to handle these unexpected moments. Engaging in debates, group discussions, or even telling impromptu stories are great ways to train your spontaneous communication skills. Practice helps develop the ability to quickly organize thoughts and express yourself clearly, even without prior preparation. In addition to practicing, it's crucial to reflect on each communication experience. After a conversation or presentation, take a few minutes to think about what worked well and what could have been better. Ask yourself, did I manage to convey my message as I wanted? How did people react? This self-analysis is like a treasure map, guiding you to areas where you can improve. It not only increases self-awareness but also helps identify behavior patterns that you can adjust to be more effective. Seeking feedback is another crucial part of the process. Sometimes, we're so immersed in our own perspective that we don't realize how we're being perceived by others. Talking to colleagues, friends, or mentors can open your eyes to aspects of your communication that you might not have noticed. They can offer valuable insights into your strengths and areas needing adjustment. Honest feedback is like a mirror that reflects back what you might not see clearly on your own, helping refine your skills. This cycle of practice, reflection, and feedback is also an excellent way to manage the anxiety that can arise from public speaking or spontaneous situations. The more you expose yourself to these situations, the more comfortable you become with the unexpected. Familiarity reduces fear, and the practice of reflecting and adjusting your approaches increases confidence. Over time, you learn to focus more on the message you want to convey than on worries about how you're being perceived, which is a great relief. Beyond reducing anxiety, this approach helps you become more efficient in communication. Being concise and direct is a valuable skill, especially when time is short or the audience's attention is limited. By focusing on the essential and avoiding unnecessary information, you ensure that your message is clear and easily understood. This not only saves time but also makes communication more impactful. Therefore, to become an effective communicator, it's important to enter this continuous cycle of practice, reflection, and feedback. It's not just about improving, it's about enjoying the process and discovering new ways to express yourself. Every interaction is an opportunity for learning and growth, making the journey to becoming a confident and effective communicator an exciting and rewarding adventure. Thank you for sticking with us until the end. Your likes and subscription are very important to us. Help us keep the Books Project alive and continue delivering high-quality content. Wishing you peace, and see you next time.